Welcome back to English 102 with me, your instructor, Jeff Sanger. Today, we're going to talk about how to handle in-text citation for APA. We've talked about this before. There's lots of materials in Canvas, but this is one of those things where before you submit me the final draft of that data commentary, you want to read that thing through and be sure all the in-text citations are perfect. This video will help you do that. So, I've got some samples here. And I thought the best way to do this is to just give you some examples. I know you're not writing about e-cigarettes, but these are some materials I had handy from a 101 class that I just sort of adapted for you here. Because again, this is the APA edition, so of course it's a references page. Of course, your references page is going to be on the last page of the document, right? But I just combined everything here to make it really easy to use as a teaching tool. As you can see, I've got two sources on our references list here. One of them does not have an author, and one of them does. And I did that on purpose because a lot of people know how to handle the in-text citations for this source here. But sometimes people struggle with how to handle the in-text citations for this one, because you may indeed have some sources that do not have a named author. And in APA, if the source does not have a named author, you're supposed to start with the title. This is true for most web pages, except for those situations where you've got a paper that's been authored by the American Medical Association. Then it's a group author. But the vast majority of the time, you just start with the title, and if there is no named author. Okay, so just a couple things to demonstrate. First, how to cite a direct quote. Okay, so of course, when you're working with a direct quote from a source, I encourage you to use some words of your own to combine with the quote so that you don't have what's called a dropped quote, which creates reader confusion. Right, so you have some words of your own, possibly a single phrase, to combine with the quote. Now, of course, you need an in-text citation to show the reader which source this is from. If the quote is from Kessler, like I said, most students can handle this pretty well. They look at the hanging indent, which hopefully you've formatted properly. If you're struggling with hanging indents, there's another video about that. Anyhow, so we look down, we see it's Kessler, and we see the date that it was published as 2019. So we'll go into the parentheses and we will put Kessler, 2019. We do not need a page number because this is an electronic source. However, of course, if you are citing your academic journal article here, you are supposed to use page numbers for those because even though the vast majority of them are online, they are paginated. Right? Now, how do we handle this one? What does the in-text citation for this one look like? Well, this is where the hanging indent helps you out because you look at the part that sticks out, and sure enough, that is what goes in the parentheses. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. They want you to put quotation marks on the title, even though they do not want you to put quotation marks on it in the references list. All right, so I'm typing my title here in the in-text citation. And then I realized that, unfortunately, the library doesn't always get these citations perfectly because if you're an APA person, only the first letter of the title is capitalized. And so you see me in here fixing that, and I am going to go ahead and fix it on here as well. Just the first few words of the title in quotes. Of course, we do still need the date, which for this one is 2019 as well. Okay, so again, hanging indent is your friend. It reminds you what goes in the in-text citation. Okay. Now let's talk briefly about paraphrase. Remember, paraphrase is if you are explaining a source in your own words, if you're just using their facts, but you're using all of your own words to explain the source. That's paraphrase. If you're looking at the source and you're copying any of the words, that's not paraphrase. That's a direct quote, which is fine, but then you need to put quotation marks on it, right? Just like it says down here, right? But if you know the sources well, as many of you do, and you're writing about them in your own words and just using their facts, That's paraphrase. But if you're going to use facts from a source, you still need to provide attribution, which is in-text citation, right? And so, according to APA, again, you explain the fact in your own words and put the citation immediately after the fact, like that. Or another fun APA way to do it is to put according to Kessler. You could do it like that as well. Either one of those is correct. You've still got everything that the APA reader needs. You've got the last name of the source and the day, which easily cross-references to the references page. Okay. Again, with the other example, it's a little bit more cumbersome to do the according to piece, right? Because it doesn't have an author. It says, oh, according to an e-cigarette ban is not a solution. I think it's easier just to do it this way, right? You just put it in the parenthetical. It's the abbreviated title followed by the date. That's about all I've got. There are lots more resources you can use to learn more about in-text citation or anything else you need help with in terms of citation with APA. If you go to the citation module in Canvas, there's also a page under week 19, I believe, that has citation reminders where I'm going to put this video again because I want people to have lots of access to the tools that they need. Of course, if you have questions, message me in Canvas or sign into one of my Zoom meetings for my open office hours so we can talk more. But that's all I've got. Until then, until I talk to you on somewhere else, I'll talk to you later.